How's it going, everyone? Chris here with my next question time video. And Neil said some sort of gaming commentary. Then I've been doing too much of those YouTube gaming videos. Anyway, so this one's a question time video. Got plenty of questions from my Form Spring account to run through. So let's get started. Oh, actually, I've got a new location. Last time I was down in the lounge, but with it being quite a sunny day, the sun's coming through the blinds and I look like a zebra with the lines across my face. My office is too echoey, so I'm currently sat in my loft. It's pretty good up here. There's 3 skylights which provide lots of nice lighting. There's a nice white backdrop on these walls, and the ceiling is sloped, so it kind of helps with the acoustics. So yeah, let's get started with some questions. Hi Chris, I'm finding it hard to get myself out there to the local public. I've tried finding clients via the internet, but it's far too competitive. How can I help myself? Well, I think I talked about something similar in one of the recent episodes about how I find client work, something like that. But basically, the way I've found most of my clients is just through social, so these social networks, Twitter and Facebook, and not to forget my blog. So. From my experience, those sort of things are the best way to get yourself out there on the internet. I think I've probably only took on about 2 max clients from my local city of Sheffield as a freelancer anyway. So it just goes to show how successful, how much of a bigger market and how more successful you can be tapping into the global industry rather than concentrating on the more traditional approaches locally. So how do you get yourself noticed online? Just be a social whore. be a social whore like me. Just network with people, chat to people, provide useful hints and tips for people. Basically, just have fun online. That's the thing. I mean, I post all these tutorials and things for fun to help people out. And they're what generate me the exposure and the client opportunities, because as these posts gain search engine traffic from people linking to them and people visiting them, that's what clients tend to find as they're searching. So they'll search for logo designer, and often my logo design tutorials or business card tutorials or anything like that will pop up. And the more you become, the more exposure you get from just chatting to other designers, the more chance you've got of being included in these roundups of Twitter designers. And that's another example. I've landed work from being featured as a person to follow on Twitter. So it just goes to show it. Just networking with people casually can help out in the business realm. It can help you land clients. So yeah, check out that other video. I think I talked a little bit more about that, but essentially just keep at it. Write blogs, be social on Twitter, and just keep networking with people, and the opportunity will come eventually. So next question: what would be the best program for logo design, Illustrator versus Photoshop or others? Definitely Illustrator for me, or at least any other vector application. I know there's a free one called Inkscape, but Illustrator is definitely industry standard. With logos, you want to make sure that they are scalable. With Photoshop, it's a raster-based application, so it's based on pixels, and if you try and scale a pixel-based image up or down, you will distort the pixels, it will become all blurry and fuzzy. Whereas in Illustrator, it's all based on vectors, it's all mathematical curves, so you can scale it to anything from a postage stamp up to a huge billboard, which is important for a logo. It keeps it all crisp and clean. That said, there's nothing wrong with designing a logo in Photoshop for some applications. Say if it's just going to be used on the web, you might want to design it at quite large scale at 300 dpi, just in case it needs to be printed out. Quite a large file at 300 dpi can be printed at something quite big, so design it at the high resolution. You can tend to scale it down for use on the web, but definitely looking to design it in Illustrator first and then bring it into Photoshop for any special treatments for certain applications. So if you want to give it some nice effects for a website, or some fancy grungy effects for print design or something, that's the sort of thing you do in Photoshop once the main file has been designed in Illustrator. Hey Chris, I always wondered if you're left or right-handed. I'm right-handed. So much so that I have to swap my knife and fork around when eating meals. So I obviously start with the fork in my left hand and knife in the right hand, cut my food up, but then I have to swap them around to transport the food from the plate to my mouth with my right hand. Because if I do it with my left hand I end up stabbing myself in the eye or the cheek. That's what my hand-eye coordination's like with my left hand. So next question, would you say there's room for new graphic designers in the business? I myself am studying for graphic design, however the vast amount of designers out there, I do worry that maybe there isn't room to get noticed anymore. What is your opinion? I always think there's always room, no matter how saturated an industry is. There's always going to be people wanting design work, whether it's a small one-man business starting up or big multinational clients. Everyone's got their own little place and what they fit in. It's just a case of finding your niche and finding the types of clients that you want to attract, and then trying to stand out in that niche. For instance, I'm not personally into designing for big companies. I think it's just too much corporate politics involved. I much prefer designing for the small guys, the people who are just starting up, but they often make for more casual design projects. And so basically the best way to attract those sort of people for me is like I said about the Twitter networking. You can kind of relate to them directly, and they often come to you for design work. So there's definitely room, no matter how saturated an industry is. You just have to find a way of standing out. And like I said before, blogging, tweeting, Facebooking, writing guides and tutorials to help people out is the best way to do that, in my experience. Right, so final question for this week. Hey yo, I like all your artwork and tutorials, it's so cool, man. Can you make video tutorials, please? I don't know if that's how it's meant to be pronounced, but it's kind of written in that way, but thanks for the question. Yeah, so quite a few people have asked for video tutorials since I started doing these video series things and on my gaming channel as well. But video tutorials don't really work very well for me, because how I kind of make tutorials, I'll create the design work first and I'll often chop and change as I'm going, and just you know, it doesn't flow very well, which I don't think would work very well on video. So for my written tutorials I tend to make the design, then go back and dissect it in order to capture the screenshots and then write about the process afterwards. If I was doing it by video, I just don't think it'd really help anyone, because it'd just be lots of dead ends and lots of quiet moments while I'm trying to concentrate and things. Unless it was something that I definitely know how to do, like a small design, like an RSS icon or something, which I think I've done before actually. But yeah, unless it's something small, I don't think it'd be really very useful. But there's plenty of people who do video tutorials, so I think I'll leave those sorts of things up to them. So let's quickly run through a couple of design links that I've saved this week. First up, we've got one from Bloom Web Design. It's how to create a print-ready cafe menu. It takes you through the process of designing quite a cool retro style menu in Illustrator by the looks of it, with setting up all your bleed and your crop marks and safe areas and all that. Next up, a post from Vector Toots. I've always been wanting to try out gradient meshes, but it's been about 5 years since I first wanted to start looking into them. I still don't know how to use them properly. But this tutorial shows how to create a burning vector match with gradient meshes, so a very nice result there, so check that out. And finally, a post from Card Desire. This is a good tutorial on how to design a print-ready retro business card. So it takes you through the process of designing the card in Photoshop with all the the crop areas and all that. Nice use of textures and kind of a cool retro or vintage style, so head over and check that out. So thanks for watching again. If you want to submit a question, head over to formspring.me/chrisspooner. I tend to write out lots of text-based responses to all the questions, then pick odd ones out that can kind of cover it in video format and maybe expand a little bit. So thanks for watching. Drop your questions in on Formspring if you've got one, and I'll catch you all in a couple of weeks when I do the next episode. So see you later.